Today, we're examining what many have referred to as the underbelly of society homelessness. This issue has been escalating for as long as I can remember. Growing up in a beach community in California, we always had a few homeless individuals roaming around the neighborhood. You recognized them, they became part of the city's fabric, and we even had nicknames for many of them. I recall one man everyone called Flipjack. He lived under the pier for years, and as he aged, they relocated him to a transitional homeless center, where I later heard he passed away. No matter the weather, this guy wore shorts, no shoes, and no shirt as he wandered the beach. Sadly, those were the good old days. I find myself looking back at that homeless man with a sense of nostalgia, even though it was over 30 years ago. A couple of months ago, I returned to my hometown, and it felt like someone had fed Flipjack after midnight. There were so many more, and they seemed angrier. I was genuinely shocked by their numbers and the aggression I witnessed. You might expect this near downtown LA, but not here. Many of the churches in my old hometown have transformed into shelters and charitable organizations that assist those in need. While I was back home, I also Googled homeless centers nearby, and that was enough internet shock for one day. They were everywhere. In this video, we'll explore which U.S. cities have the highest homeless populations, according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. They conducted a point-in-time survey in 2023, counting all the individuals in shelters at a specific moment, like one night. They also provide an estimate of those living outside shelters in each city. Got it? Let's dive in. San Francisco. Number 10, San Francisco. In San Francisco, the homeless crisis has escalated to such an extent that even the seagulls are voicing their complaints. As tech moguls and their robotic pets stroll past historic landmarks, they often navigate an urban safari, skillfully dodging tents, needles, and Babe Ruth candy bars, much like seasoned street performers. With the influx of tech companies and the growing homeless population, this situation has inspired a new wave of startups focused on innovative solutions, such as app-controlled sleeping pods and restrooms, all in a noble attempt to ensure everyone has a place to call home or at least a Wi-Fi hotspot to connect to. It's a city where the line between a quirky tech hub and an outdoor camping festival blurs, proving that in San Francisco, the spirit of innovation knows no limits, especially when it comes to finding a place to sleep. The homeless situation in San Francisco is well known. They claim it's improving and that they've initiated several programs. However, it's simply not enough. The mayor and elected officials act as if the changes are evident and that we should all commend them. But let me ask you this. If you take a bucket of water out of the ocean, do you notice a change in the tide? Now, the numbers I'm about to share are specific to cities like San Francisco, which has roughly 870,000 residents. The entire metro area has about 5 million, but we're focusing solely on the city itself. The homeless population during the count was 7,582 individuals living in shelters, with estimates closer to 9,500. San Francisco's homelessness rate stands at 9.4 per 1,000 residents. The change in homelessness from 2020 to 2023, it went down. Sacramento. Number 9, Sacramento. In Sacramento, the homeless crisis has reached an unprecedented level, to the point where the homeless held an election a few years back. They even had a homeless mayor. At least they did until someone stole his tent, prompting him to move to San Francisco, as the neighborhood was declining. City officials have come up with various ideas to address the issue, even proposing innovative solutions like converting old city buses into mobile homes, only to realize they had created the world's slowest moving neighborhood. With tents and makeshift shelters popping up faster than Starbucks, the city's new skyline resembles a patchwork of tarps and cardboard. I witnessed this firsthand during my Amtrak journeys across the country in 2018 and 2020. The homeless population during the point-in-time survey in Sacramento was 9,281, with estimates closer to 11,000. The rate of homelessness in Sacramento is 17.6 per 1,000 residents, reflecting a staggering 68% increase from 2020 to 2023. Phoenix. Number 8, Phoenix. In Phoenix, Arizona, where the sun blazes with the intensity of 1,000 microwaves, the homeless crisis has taken a turn that seems straight out of a wild desert mirage. As residents flip-flop between air-conditioned buildings, they might stumble upon scenes resembling an impromptu camping festival, rather than the harsh reality of urban homelessness. The city is notorious for its scorching sidewalks that could fry an egg. I once saw a news segment where a reporter cooked eggs and bacon on the hood of a car in Phoenix. However, Phoenix has become a battleground for survival, with the homeless using sunblock as their armor and seeking shade in every nook and cranny, turning the urban landscape into a game of hide and seek with Mother Nature's fiercest element. This situation requires serious attention and action, yet one can't help but admire the resilience and resourcefulness of these individuals, even when the thermostat seems permanently set to broil. I recall seeing a homeless man in Phoenix who managed to get an air conditioner running in his tent, making him quite popular among the homeless crowd that summer. During the point-in-time survey, the homeless population in Phoenix was 9,642, with estimates close to 11,000. The rate of homelessness in Phoenix is 5.9 per 1,000 residents, reflecting a 30% increase from 2020 to 2023. I want to remind you that these figures are mostly estimates, and the rates come from different studies. If they don't align perfectly with the city's population, I apologize. They're from two separate studies, just meant to give you an idea of the situation. Oakland. Music number 7, Oakland, California. In Oakland, the homeless crisis is hitting hard. Everywhere you turn, tents and makeshift shelters are popping up under freeways, in parks, and even along the sidewalks of once busy streets, as if the city is wearing its heartache on its sleeve. More individuals are finding themselves without a roof over their heads, caught in a web of soaring housing prices, insufficient affordable housing, and a myriad of systemic issues piling on. It's a dire situation in Oakland, with community members and local organizations hustling daily to provide relief and solutions. However, it's clear that this is a deeply rooted problem, and superficial fixes, like providing a roof over someone's head for a week, won't suffice. Something drastic needs to change in places like Oakland to see any significant improvement. Otherwise, the situation will only worsen. The homeless population during the point-in-time survey in Oakland was 9,759, with the real estimate closer to 11,200. The estimated homelessness rate is 22.7 per 1,000 residents, which has risen since 2020. San Jose, music number 6, San Jose, California. San Jose, nestled in the heart of Silicon Valley, is facing a challenging situation regarding homelessness. Despite being surrounded by tech giants and cutting-edge innovation, many people find themselves without a place to call home. It's quite a paradox. On one hand, you have some of the world's wealthiest companies, and on the other, an increasing number of individuals struggling to make ends meet and ending up on the streets. The city has been attempting to tackle the issue through various initiatives, such as building more affordable housing and providing support services. However, it's a steep hill to climb, highlighting the gap between the haves and the have-nots. San Jose is one of the most affluent areas in the country, yet it's grappling with a worsening problem. During the point-in-time survey, the homeless population in San Jose was 9,903, with estimates around 11,000. The rate is 10.2 per 1,000 residents, reflecting a 3% increase from 2020 to 2023. Denver. Music number 5, Denver, Colorado. In Denver, the homeless crisis has become a significant concern, underscoring the city's struggle to provide adequate shelter and services for its growing homeless population. Factors contributing to this crisis include skyrocketing housing costs, economic instability, and insufficient mental health and addiction support services. It's no surprise that one of the biggest challenges we face with homelessness is addiction and mental health issues. I've mentioned in many other videos that we need to help these individuals, but it's increasingly difficult to get them off the streets. The focus should really be on those who simply couldn't make rent for a few months and now find themselves without a home. Those who went bankrupt or have no one to support them, ending up living in their cars. This is the reality in our society, and it's quite sad. This situation not only impacts the well-being and safety of those experiencing homelessness, but also poses challenges to public health, safety, and the city's resources. The complexity of the crisis requires comprehensive solutions that address the root causes of homelessness. As I mentioned, we need to ensure that some individuals receive food and the support they need to get off the streets. The homeless situation in Denver plays out like this. During the point-in-time survey, they estimated that 10,054 people were living in shelters, with the actual estimate closer to 10,800. I've learned that in many cities that experience harsh winters, individuals find their way to shelters during the survey, which is often a matter of life or death. The estimated rate of homelessness in Denver is 14.1 per 1,000 residents, with a 65% increase from 2020 to 2023. San Diego. Number 4, San Diego. In San Diego, the homeless situation is becoming increasingly difficult to overlook. You can see more individuals sleeping in parks, under bridges, and in makeshift shelters throughout the city. This issue has been growing for quite some time and is worsening. It's not just about having a roof over their heads, it's also about the challenges they face, such as finding food, staying safe, and accessing basic health care. The city has been trying to assist by opening shelters and offering services, but it often feels like putting a Band-Aid on a massive wound. It's a complex issue that involves not only the need for housing, but also addressing mental health support, job training, and drug addiction treatment. Everyone agrees that something needs to be done, but finding the right solution is where it gets tricky. During my research, I read about a man who worked at a gun store in Reno, Nevada, for about 10 to 15 years. When the store closed down or relocated, he struggled to find a new job quickly and ended up living in his car. He shared how he used to think, "Screw the homeless, they can just die on the streets for all I care." And he held all the stereotypical beliefs about them being lazy drug addicts and alcoholics. Yet, he found himself on the streets, realizing that most of us are just a few missed paychecks away from living on the street ourselves. The homeless population in San Diego is estimated at 10,264, with closer estimates around 13,000. The rate is about 7.4 per 1,000 residents, which has increased between 2020 and 2023. Seattle. Number 3, Seattle, Washington. This is where things get strange. In the shadowy corners and beneath the overpasses of Seattle, a crisis unfolds like a slowly moving storm, its darkness deepening with each passing day. The streets, once bustling with life, now bear witness to a growing legion of souls ensnared in homelessness. Yes, I own a thesaurus. Their numbers seem to swell as if drawn by some unseen force. Seattle, known for its tech giants and emerald landscapes, now faces the stark reality of those caught in despair. Shelters are overflowing, resources are strained, and at night as you walk through Seattle's streets, which I've done recently, you'll find many people talking to themselves. Seattle is a fantastic city with much to offer, but it's grappling with an out-of-control homeless situation. During the point-in-time survey, the homeless population was 14,140 people, with real estimates closer to 16,000. The rate of homelessness in Seattle is 18.9 per 1,000 residents, reflecting a 34% increase from 2020 to 2023. Los Angeles. Number 2, Los Angeles, California. It's clear that Los Angeles faces a serious homeless crisis, as do many major cities in California. However, downtown Los Angeles has one of the most alarming and depressing homeless neighborhoods, Skid Row. In the dark heart of Los Angeles, Skid Row stretches like a concrete scar, starkly embodying the city's growing homeless crisis. Amidst sprawling tent cities lining the sidewalks, the air is thick with despair, and the streets depict human suffering. This neighborhood wasn't always the epicenter of homelessness. There used to be just a few tents and people living in cars. Since I can remember, I've worked not too far from there. Los Angeles is an incredible city with many wonderful attractions, but the glitter of Los Angeles is only about half a mile away from the harsh reality of Skid Row. Strangely, they've largely left this situation unattended. While there are outreach programs and organizations like the Coalition for the Homeless doing commendable work, it feels as if they've surrendered Skid Row to this crisis. It's particularly unfortunate for the city of Los Angeles, as one of its nicer neighborhoods, Little Tokyo, is just a block away from Skid Row. The crime statistics for Little Tokyo are alarming, but when you realize it's just a small area of Skid Row, it puts things into perspective. Now brace yourself for this. During the point-in-time survey, the homeless population in Los Angeles was 71,320, with real estimates closer to 990,000. The estimated rate of homelessness in Los Angeles is 18.7 per 1,000 residents, with a growth of 12% between 2020 and 2023. New York. Number 1, New York, New York. Yes, that's right. New York City takes the top spot here. We're not judging by the rate. We're simply looking at the sheer number of homeless individuals. In the alleyways and forgotten corners of New York City, a crisis unfolds with a relentless grip, casting a long, dark shadow over the city's vibrant skyline. The growing homeless epidemic in New York City starkly illustrates social neglect and systemic failure. Amidst the chaos of the world's most dynamic city, countless souls are trapped in a relentless cycle of poverty and exclusion, invisible to the masses that pass them by daily. During the point-in-time survey, the homeless population in New York City was 88,200, with estimates closer to 92,000. The difference isn't vast, as it's a cold place to be during the winter, so many individuals find their way to shelters during the survey. The rate of homelessness in New York City is 10.6 per 1,000 residents, with a staggering 133% increase from 2020 to 2023. Alright, that's today's video. I hope you found it informative and engaging. Now go out, have a fantastic day, and be kind to one another.